Hi everyone. Today I'm going to share something that might surprise a lot of men, especially those over 40. Most guys believe women care a lot about size, but what if science says that's not really true? In fact, several studies from real medical institutions suggest that what women actually value goes far beyond inches, and it has more to do with health, confidence, and even blood flow. I know, that sounds unexpected, but stay with me, because the data behind this is fascinating, and the last study I'll show you completely changes how we think about male performance as we age. So let's break down what science really says about size, aging, and what women actually want. Let's start with the science behind size preferences, and you might find it's not what you think. When it comes to conversations about size, most men imagine it's the number one thing women care about. But scientific research paints a very different picture. Several studies, including findings referenced by researchers from the University of California and the Kinsey Institute, suggest that for most women, physical satisfaction isn't only about size. Instead, it's about proportion, comfort, and confidence. These are factors that play a much bigger role in real-life intimacy than people often realize. One fascinating study used 3D models to test women's preferences. The result? Most participants preferred average, balanced proportions over extremes. Why? Because the brain associates symmetry and health with attractiveness, not necessarily length. In other words, the mind plays a bigger role than the measuring tape. And here's another key point: the emotional and physical connection matters far more than appearance. Women often report that trust, chemistry, and mutual understanding enhance physical satisfaction much more than any single physical trait. These elements trigger dopamine and oxytocin, the same bonding hormones that strengthen relationships and pleasure responses. So, what does that mean for men, especially those entering their 40s and beyond? It means the focus shouldn't be on chasing numbers, but on maintaining overall health, cardiovascular, hormonal, and psychological. Because what science shows is that better blood flow, energy, and emotional presence are what truly elevate performance and satisfaction for both partners. The takeaway here is simple but empowering. When you understand the biology and psychology behind attraction, you realize it's not about competing with anyone else, it's about taking care of yourself. But here's where things get even more interesting. As we age, hormones and circulation start to change, and that shift has a huge impact on performance. Let's talk about what really happens to men's bodies over time. As men get older, there's one thing every urologist keeps an eye on: testosterone. This hormone plays a key role in energy, mood, and, of course, sexual health. But here's the part many people don't realize: it's completely natural for testosterone to gradually decline with age. Research suggests that after about age 30, men may experience roughly a 1% drop per year. It's not sudden, and it's not something to panic about. It's simply biology doing its thing. What matters most isn't the number itself, but how your body responds to that gradual change. Lower testosterone can influence blood flow, muscle tone, and motivation, all of which are connected to performance. That's why some men notice shifts in stamina or confidence as they move through their 40s and 50s. It's not necessarily about getting weaker, it's about circulation and hormone balance. Modern urology doesn't focus on changing anatomy, it focuses on improving health from the inside out. Lifestyle adjustments like exercise, better sleep, and balanced nutrition can help maintain testosterone naturally. Even something as simple as resistance training or regular cardiovascular activity supports blood vessel health, which directly impacts male performance. And let's be honest, mental health matters too. Stress, anxiety, and poor sleep can suppress testosterone levels and affect arousal. That's why doctors emphasize holistic care, taking care of your mind, your body, and your relationships. When these align, performance usually follows naturally. The truth is, aging doesn't have to mean losing your vitality. Many men in their 40s, 50s, and even 60s maintain a healthy and satisfying intimate life, not because they chase perfection, but because they focus on overall wellness. So if hormones and circulation play such a big role, what are women really looking for as they grow older too? Let's explore what science says about what women over 30 truly care about and why it might surprise you. Now that we've talked about hormones and how aging affects men, let's look at the other side of the story, what women, especially those over 30, actually care about. According to research published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine and other clinical reviews, women in their 30s and beyond tend to prioritize emotional connection, communication, and confidence over physical size. That doesn't mean physical attraction disappears, it just evolves. As people mature, intimacy becomes more about trust, understanding, and shared comfort rather than pure appearance. Scientists believe this shift happens because our brains and hormones mature too. Women produce less estrogen over time, and that naturally changes emotional and physical responses. As a result, many report that what makes an experience satisfying is how present and attentive their partner is. Things like eye contact, emotional safety, and a partner's overall health often play a bigger role than any one physical trait. Interestingly, studies show that women in long-term relationships rate satisfaction higher when their partners are healthy, confident, and communicative. It's less about performance under pressure and more about connection in the moment. That's also why many urologists and relationship therapists now emphasize whole person wellness, because mental health, hormones, and communication are all deeply intertwined. So, what does this mean for men? It means that improving your well-being, managing stress, staying active, eating well, and nurturing your relationship can do more for your confidence and satisfaction than obsessing over physical details. The science is clear. As we age, true attraction becomes about energy, health, and emotional presence. Those are the real foundations of lasting connection. And that brings us to the most important takeaway: what science says really matters for long-term satisfaction, and how you can start improving it today. So, after looking at the science, it's clear that satisfaction for both men and women isn't really about size. It's about health, connection, and confidence. The research shows that when men focus on improving circulation, balancing hormones, and building emotional connection, their overall performance naturally improves. Aging doesn't mean losing desire or strength. It means learning to take care of yourself in smarter ways. Simple changes like staying active, eating well, sleeping better, and reducing stress can have a real impact on how you feel and perform. And remember, if you ever have concerns about your health, talk with a licensed healthcare professional. That conversation can make a huge difference. The real secret? It's not about chasing perfection. It's about understanding your body, your partner, and how both evolve over time. If you found this video helpful or eye-opening, share it with someone who might need to hear this, and subscribe for more real, science-based insights on men's health and relationships. In the next video, we'll dive into simple daily habits that help boost testosterone naturally, backed by research.